This is insane. I mean, arguably, literally. Suzanne Craig over at the New York Times, I mean, she's no slouch. She's I believe she's a Nobel Prize-winning writer. The headline, just the headline. RFK Jr. says doctors found a dead worm in his brain. That's the headline in the New York Times today. I'll just share a couple paragraphs with you. In 2010, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was experiencing memory loss and mental fogginess so severe that a friend grew concerned he might have a brain tumor. Mr. Kennedy said he consulted several of the country's top neurologists, many of whom had either treated or spoken to his uncle, Senator Edward Kennedy, before his death the previous year of brain cancer. Several doctors noticed a dark spot on the younger Mr. Kennedy's brain scans and concluded that he had a tumor, he said in a 2012 deposition reviewed by the New York Times. Mr. Kennedy was immediately scheduled for a procedure at Duke University's medical center by the same surgeon who had operated on his uncle. While packing for the trip, he said, he received a call from a doctor at New York Presbyterian Hospital who had a different opinion. Mr. Kennedy, he believed, had a dead parasite in his head. The doctor believed that the abnormality seen on his scans, quote, was caused by a worm that got into my brain and ate a portion of it and then died, Mr. Kennedy said in the deposition. At the same time that he learned of the parasite, he said, he was also diagnosed with mercury poisoning, most likely from ingesting too much fish, which can cause serious neurological issues. I have cognitive problems, clearly, he said in the 2012 deposition. I have short-term memory loss, and I have a long-term memory loss that also affects me. It turns out, he said that, when they asked him about his eating, he said he was certain that his diet had caused the poisoning. Quote, I love tuna fish sandwiches. I ate them all the time. And tuna fish, of course, is really high in mercury. So if you want to get mercury poisoning, eat your tuna fish, right? It's a giant predatory fish, so it concentrates all those heavy metals, at the top of the food chain. Several infectious disease experts and neurosurgeons said in separate interviews with the New York Times that based on what Mr. Kennedy described, they believed it was likely a pork tapeworm larva. There are roughly 2,000 hospitalizations for this condition every year in the United States. It's called neurocysticercosis, according to the journal Emerging Infectious Diseases. I guess the lesson of that one is don't eat pork, right? I mean, there's a reason why Muslims and Jews don't eat pork, and it has to do with, just this. Mr. Kennedy said he was then subsisting on a diet heavy on predatory fish, notably tuna and perch. He was experiencing severe brain fog. His test showed his mercury levels were 10 times what the EPA considers safe. Wow. So I can see his, Bob Kennedy's new slogan, his new presidential campaign slogan. Vote for me. I have a worm in my brain. I don't think that's going to work. Do you? This is, you should never make fun of people who have medical issues. But he's been out there like pumping iron in Venice Beach and showing how athletic he is and skiing and say what?